Welcome to the complete beginner's guide to the COROS Vertix 2, where I will be going over all of the menus in the interface and almost all the features that most people will likely use, as well as the included app interface, and of course my own suggestions on various features and settings. And I'm going to try to provide a lot of useful tips along the way, such as how to download and install topography to your maps, or how to easily get free MP3 files of your favorite podcast so you can upload those onto the Vertex 2 and listen to them while you run. And with this being a beginner's guide, there might be some areas where I'm discussing the menu or a certain interface that you might already know quite a lot about. And so in that case, feel free to check out the video description below where I have everything timestamped so you can just skip ahead to whichever area that you'll find most value in. Or of course, you can do what I do when listening to guides like this, and I will generally listen to the entire thing, but I will change the settings on YouTube to 1.5 or 2 times speed unless I find things are moving too fast for me, and then I'll slow it down back to normal speed. Either way, thanks for being here, and if you like content like this, well, make sure to subscribe to connect the watts before you go. Now, 2 big tips that I want to start with just right out the gate is one, that you might want to consider flipping the watch over so that the buttons aren't facing your wrist. Because this watch is fairly big, I can't tell you how many times, especially during bike rides or strength workouts, where my hand has pressed the button and accidentally started or stopped a workout. So in my opinion, it's best to flip this watch over so that the buttons are facing away from your wrist, and all you need to do is go into settings, which we'll go into a little bit more in a bit, to change the watch interface so that it is right side up with this orientation. The second tip that I really wish somebody had told me about when I first started using the COROS Vertix 2 is because this GPS watch is so large that if you wear it too close towards your hands near your wrist bone, the heart rate measurements will really be off. For me, I would notice that my heart rate would tend to be 10 to 20 beats lower than all of my other heart rate monitors. So what I quickly figured out is that you need to wear this watch a bit farther up your wrist in order for the heart rate to be measured accurately. Okay, so starting with the main watch interface, you're going to see 3 buttons here on the right side. The top button is primarily there to turn on the backlight, but you can also customize the long hold of this button to be used for an additional function, which we'll go over in the settings. The big middle button is going to be your primary enter and scroll. Now, if you press this button on the main watch interface, it'll take you to the workout selection screen so you can start a workout. And then the third bottom button here, you can pretty much consider like a back button, although if you hold this button, it'll take you to the tool menu. Now, if you press the back button on the main screen interface, it'll actually cycle through one of the metrics that you can see, which could be your heart rate, the number of steps you've taken, the number of stories that you've climbed, the total calories you've burned throughout the day, the amount of time you've exercised, the time of the sunset or the sunrise, and your current elevation. Now, from the main screen, if you scroll up or down, you'll find various other metrics and widgets, including the number of calories you burned. And by the way, if you press on that scroll button, it'll generally take you to find more information. Now, this is your running performance, and this is just a number based off of your previous run once you've unlocked the COROS Evo Lab. And if you scroll from here, you'll be able to see your race predictor and the predicted splits for those races. You'll also be able to see your fatigue and your base fitness and your 7-day total load to give you an idea of how your total training volume is going. You'll be able to see your recovery percentage, as well as how long COROS thinks you'll need until you're ready for the next session. You'll also be able to see and scroll through your heart rate data, your previous night's sleep, the elevation, the barometric pressure, as well as the temperature. Although the temperature measurements for COROS is more designed to be used to measure the temperature of water rather than the current temperature of the air. Now, moving on to the tool menu, which again you can get to by holding that bottom button, there are a lot of additional widgets and settings to sort through. So starting with the alarm, you can set and save multiple alarms, and they can be adjusted to go off only once every day, or you can even customize the days of the week that they are set to go on. There's also a simple timer and stopwatch. You can access the satellite signal here if you would like to outside of a workout. And here you can save the location. Now, you can only do this in the middle of an actual GPS workout, but let's say there's a spot that you want to remember. You can go to this menu real quick and tap save location. Okay, so next we have map settings, and here you'll find a few options, including the ability to change the direction of the map. So you can make the top of the watch the direction that you are heading, which is what I I prefer, or if you would like, you can have the top of the watch always facing north. Now, in terms of the map itself, you can choose between having the map be a landscape, being a topo map, or again, what I prefer, being a hybrid. But in order to get the topo map, you're going to have to download and install that data into your watch. So let me show you how to do that. So the first thing that you'll need to do is take the COROS Vertix 2 charger that came with it and plug your watch into your computer. And you'll see a log file show up right away, and then it can take a few minutes for the actual Vertix 2 file to appear. Once it's up, you can go to the COROS website and then scroll all the way to the bottom to where it says Maps. Now under the maps, you'll have the option to download landscape or topos. Now we're just downloading the topos maps here, but you may want to download an updated landscape map every so often. Now the topos maps files can be quite large, so it's best to just select via the map only the area that you really want the data from, and then you'll be able to download a zip file with that particular data. Now once you've downloaded the file and unzipped it, you'll want to check the instructions just in case it's different from what I have here. But for me on the Mac, all I had to do was hold the options button and drag this whole maps file into the Vertix 2 and then select merge. Now a quick warning here is that the wired connection for the Vertix 2 is pretty finicky, so don't be surprised if the transfer has a few issues. It took me about 3 tries to get it to work, so just keep trying and you'll eventually get it. Okay, so back to the tools. If you check out map, you'll be able to use the GPS to find your current location and take a look at the area around you. Next, we have navigation, which is another way to start a workout. So here you can see the routes that you've saved onto the watch via the app, and you could start a route right from here rather than going through the workout if you prefer, although I wouldn't quite suggest it since you have a bit more options when you start a workout the regular way. Next, you'll find this Ultra Max GPS mode, which is a feature that COROS allows for to help extend the battery life even further. But because the battery for the Vertix 2 is so large, you'll probably only be needing to use this if for some reason you forgot to charge it and you were going on a full day or a multi-day event. In that case, you could turn on the Ultra Max mode to extend the battery life at the cost of some of the GPS accuracy. There's also a metronome here, which you can use to dial in your cadence, as well as a battery usage widget, which will show you your current battery. And if you click the scroll wheel, you'll be able to see other information about how long your battery is likely to last using GPS and which functions of the watch are taking the most usage since your previous charge. Here you'll find an HRV or heart rate variability tracker. This can be a very useful metric to track and evaluate your recovery with, but you will need to remember to do it first thing in the morning in pretty much the exact same way, because if you do it at another time, the numbers will be so far off that they wouldn't really be useful for you to look at or track. Next, we have an oximeter. So if you want to measure your blood oxygen levels, you can do that here. And then we have the broadcast heart rate function. Now, I'll typically turn this on if I'm using an indoor bike or an indoor rower, and I want the COROS watch to send that device my heart rate information via Bluetooth. And if you turn this on when you are starting your workout, it'll automatically turn off when your workout is over. There, of course, is a simple compass here, a do not disturb option, since you can have your COROS watch hooked up to your phone for it to alert you for calls and messages or whatever else you would like to be alerted to. Speaking of which, there's a newly added Find My Phone feature, which I use all of the time. And if you click on this and you're within Bluetooth range, and as long as you haven't closed your COROS app, your phone will vibrate and make some noises to help alert you to where it is. The Vertix 2 also has the ability to sync via Wi-Fi, and this doesn't serve really a ton of purposes except to get new updates via Wi-Fi instead of being upgraded via Bluetooth by connecting to your phone. The camera control here allows those of you with a GoPro or an Insta360 to connect and control them via your watch. Now here is where you can find and play your music. So if you want to connect your headphones, just put them into pairing and press the scroll button here. You'll also see a list here of other Bluetooth headphones that you've used with the COROS watch before. And if you press at the top of the screen, you can scroll through whatever music or podcast that you have uploaded onto the watch. Now, in terms of uploading music and podcasts and audio books to the COROS Vertix 2, They will need to be MP3 files, which will definitely kind of suck for almost everybody since most people nowadays don't really have MP3 files since we all listen to Spotify or Apple Music. So I don't really use this to actually listen to music, but I do know of a really easy, simple way to download podcasts as MP3s. So to do that, again, you're going to need to have your COROS Vertix 2 plugged into your computer. You'll need to use a Chrome browser and go to Google Podcasts and find the podcast that you want to download. Once you find the episode that you want, right-click and select Inspect. Then from here, you're going to need to find the MP3 file. So the easiest way to do that is with Control F and type in MP3, although there is going to be a lot of MP3s in the coding that you're going to need to sort through. But the easiest way is to just keep clicking the arrow down until you see the link on the page to the left, sort of highlight where the episode that you want is. And then the right code usually starts with JS data equals like quote KWYN5E. So just copy that line and paste it into the URL, and then delete everything prior to the HTTP and everything after the MP3. If you do it correctly, you'll be sent to the page that will play the podcast file, and you can right-click and download that file as an MP3 from here. Then all you need to do is find that file on your computer and drag it into the music folder on the Vertex 2. Now going back to the toolbox, if we go to settings, again, you have the option to turn on Do Not Disturb. You can also adjust how your workout interface, like with the background color, you can have it either black or white. You can turn auto scroll on and off, which will scroll through various metric pages that you have set up for that particular type of workout. I usually leave this off, but for touch scroll, which is an option that allows you to use your finger on the screen to scroll through various metric pages during your workout, that I leave on because I find that to be a lot more convenient and easier to use rather than trying to have to scroll the wheel. And also, if you would like to continue getting messages and call alerts during your workout, you can choose to turn that on here. Now beyond that, you can pair your phone, which you'll probably have already done when you set up your app. And then we have sensors. Now obviously, one of the main sensors is your heart rate. And normally COROS will only record your heart rate once every 10 minutes when you're not taking a workout. But you can change this to have it take your heart rate in real time, like once every second, just like it does during a workout, although this will drain the battery a lot more. But again, the battery is so huge, you may want to consider turning this on if you like to be able to glance down at your heart rate throughout the day. Here, you can also make adjustments to your barometer, like what sort of data source you're getting the pressure from, as well as how far back in the data you'd like to be able to scroll through on your watch. Scrolling further, you can calibrate some of your sensors. So for example, your elevation, when you're not using GPS and you're around various electronics or sources of heat, this can sort of get messed up throughout the day. So you can recalibrate this outside of a workout here, or you can input your current elevation manually if you know what that number is. In this section, you can also calibrate your compass as well as the thermometer. Next, we have accessories, which allows you to add or view a list of all of the additional sensors or headphones that you have paired to the COROS watch. And then here you can add your Wi-Fi network, and you can access the music widget from this area as well. Now moving on to more settings, here is where you can change your language. You can change the watch face, which you can have 5 preloaded onto the watch. There's more on the app, which I'll show you how to download when we get to the app portion. And once you select the watch face, you can also change the color of it with the scroll wheel. You can adjust the backlight. And what the backlight setting really means is that when you turn the watch towards yourself, you can have the backlight automatically turn on at night when it's set to auto. And while I like having this on, it can make it a bit difficult to sleep sometimes, as it won't turn off until you are actually asleep. So if your arm is moving around, all of a sudden you might see a really bright light. So I've been back and forth playing with leaving it on and off. I'm really not sure which option is best. Next, you can select whether you have the watch on your left or right wrist. And then under digital dial, which I showed at the very beginning of this guide, this is where you can choose which side the buttons will be placed on while you are wearing it. And so again, this I switch over to the left since I wear it on my right, so that the buttons are facing away from my wrist and the watch is oriented in the correct position. You can also change the dial rotation, basically how the menu moves up and down based on the direction that you are scrolling. And I suggest trying both ways out, as one will probably feel a bit more natural to you than the other. Okay, next you have the ability to customize your light key shortcut. So that top button, that's the backlight key. And again, you can have this set if you hold it to bring you to another widget. Now, not all of the widgets are included here, so you sort of have to pick which one is the most convenient for you. For me, I tend to keep it either on music or map, just depending on the situation. Below that, you can adjust the settings for the vibrations and the tones on the watch. After that is where you can adjust the auto lock settings. Now, you can change the auto lock for both during a workout and outside of a workout. And I think initially the COROS Vertix 2 comes with both options set as hold to unlock. And while I like this during my workouts, I actually prefer the scroll to unlock when I'm not doing workouts, just so that I don't accidentally start a workout or even worse, delete a workout. If we continue to scroll down, we can change the units from imperial to metric. You can adjust the date and time. And here is where you can adjust the satellite systems, which is one of the biggest features of the Vertix 2. Now, for most people, you should probably leave the recommended all systems on, which allows for 90 hours of GPS use. But for those who may need support for the multiple GPS readings to increase their accuracy, especially technical climbers or really any sport where you're close to a wall, or there might be something overhead which might otherwise, under the other modes, mess up some of the GPS tracking. Moving on, we can access the map settings again here, as well as turn on and off an altitude alert. This will alert you if you're going over 8,250 feet. Then, of course, you can reset all of the settings, or if you want to turn off the COROS watch, this is the place to go to do that. Finally, the last widget in the tools area is night mode. Now, if you turn night mode on, when you start a workout at night, the backlight will automatically stay on during the entire workout. All right, so going back to the main screen, if we press this center button, that'll take us to the workout area where we can select which workout we would like to do. Now, if you have pre-built workouts, you can select those from the workout area, or if you have workouts planned via the COROS app or on their website, you can find those on here, as well as you have the ability to check out your workout history. So if you want to see some of the basic stats of some of your most recent workouts, you can find all of that here. Now, if you want to start a workout, let's say a run, you just select that. And then, of course, after it finds the GPS and your heart rate, you can begin that, or you can go into basic interval to create a basic interval type structure. And then if you go into settings, you can select navigation, which will allow you to pick one of the routes for the workout if you have it saved for where you will be running. And I'll show you how to do that on the app in a little bit. Then for activity alerts, you can select specific distances or paces or heart rate zones that you want the watch to alert you about while you are running. And finally, here you can enable auto pause so that if you stop running, the workout tracking will automatically pause the workout until you resume. Now, if you're going to do an indoor workout like on a treadmill, you have a few options here as well. The watch is going to automatically estimate your pace and distance just based off your arm movement alone, but you can calibrate it further by selecting treadmill and a specific pace and then running at that pace for several minutes. Also, here is a virtual run option, and what this does is the COROS Vertix 2 will actually send this estimated run data to an external program like Zwift, for example, so you can participate in virtual races and virtual runs, even if you don't have a smart treadmill or setup, which would normally be required to allow that. Now, if you're curious about the difference between how COROS tracks a run versus a trail run, well, the trail run has the setting of 3D map automatically turned on so that your vertical distance is counted as well as your horizontal distance, which allows for a bit more accuracy. And COROS won't use your workouts from your trail runs to adjust your metrics in your Evo Lab, as it can be difficult to take that data, which has a lot of differences in terrain and elevation, and be able to apply that to a regular run. Now, if you select a route on, any run, you can check out the elevation details. You can choose to run that route in the regular direction or run it in reverse. And when you start the workout, COROS will alert you when you deviate off course and give you a breadcrumb of the best route to get back on the course. And you can adjust all of this as well in the settings. Now, another cool feature is that when you are running with a route, the screen below the map will show the elevation of the entire route and where you are relative to that, so you can glance on it when you're running to get a better sense of what sort of terrain you can expect coming up soon. Another nice feature that's included on both the trail run and the hike modes is resume later. So if you're going for a really long hike or a really long run, and you're going to have longer extended breaks in between, maybe you're going to stop for a little bit and get some food, well, you can choose resume later, which will allow you to get out of the workout mode And then when you go back into it, you can resume that workout from where you left off, and COROS will put the two parts together and treat it as one single workout. Now, track run is another mode that I find really useful if you're heading to the track, because what it allows you to do is select the exact lane that you will be running in so that COROS is better able to coordinate the GPS and your exact running route to give you much more accurate and precise route tracking, which can be very important for track workouts in particular. Now, there are a ton of different workout types here, each with their own variety of settings and specific functions, but I do want to point out a few things from various modes that I found particularly interesting. For one, if you select triathlon, you're able to adjust all three parts of that triathlon. So if you happen to be doing a session where maybe you're running before you are biking, you can change all that around and track it here. And similar to the triathlon mode, there's a multi-sport mode, which I really like because you can mix together any variety of workout categories. And I like this a lot because occasionally maybe I'll be doing a CrossFit workout, say for example the workout Murph, where you run 1 mile, then do a huge chunk of pull-ups, push-ups, and squats before you finish the workout with another run. So you can set that up on multi-sport mode, so it'll track your 2 runs at the beginning and the end separately and put them in their own workout category so you can evaluate the metrics for those later on. Finally, the last one that I want to mention here is the strength training mode. Now, if you don't have a strength workout pre-planned and put into the COROS app for your watch, you can still start a strength workout here. And when you start the workout, you can select what area of your body you are focusing on the most. And then if you pause your workout between sets, you can select to move on to the next section and select another body part area so that even if your workout isn't entirely built out, you can later get a rough idea with how much time you spend on different areas throughout the week or the month on the body heat map available on the app. All right, so moving on to the COROS app. On the front page, this is going to show you all of your daily metrics. Now, if you select one of these categories, you can rotate your phone to the side to be able to dig in more closely into each of these metrics. Now, this next tab over here is your workout history, so you can scroll through and view all of your previous workouts that you've tracked with COROS. Now, if you select a workout that was done with GPS, you can view the map both in 2D and 3D, view all of the COROS Evo Lab metrics, check out your pace, your adjusted pace, which is basically your pace adjusted for the elevation gain. And one of the things I really like to do for my runs is check out the elevation, turn it to the side, and then also put all the other metrics over it, like my heart rate and my running power, to get a better sense overall of how that run went and where I could improve the most. Now on this third tab over is where you'll be able to find all of your Evo Lab running metrics. Now these won't be unlocked right away. It'll take maybe a week or two, kind of depending on the length of your runs to unlock. And we're not going to go fully into all of these metrics here, as that should probably be a whole video on its own. There's also a workout builder here, both for running workouts and for strength workouts, that are pretty easy to use. You can also build out your training schedule. And even if you don't build a training schedule, you can click on training schedule and scroll up to see more of a bird's eye view of all of your training over the past several weeks. Now, if you click on navigation route library, these aren't all of the routes that you have on your watch, but these are the routes from your training history, both for COROS and any third-party apps like Strava that you have connected to it. Now, if you want to add these to your watch, you can do that here by simply selecting Sync with Watch. But the easier way to do it is when you click on the Far tab, you can select My Routes, and then from here, you can add and select any 10 routes that you would like. And again, if you want to build a route, you can just simply do that with a third-party app like Strava, for example. And then I found after about a few minutes, it will sync to the COROS app and then sync it to your watch for a future workout if you'd like to. Also, an important feature on the app is customizing your watch face for your various workouts. So when you click here, you'll be able to customize each and every workout category to 6 metric screens that you can view during those workouts. And the customization here is really good. So you can have just a few metrics or a ton, and you can have a variety of screens built perfectly for what you like to look at in various situations. I also suggest, unless you want all 6 workout faces, to delete a few so you don't have to swipe through all of them and instead can just swipe between the ones that are important to you. Now, under customization, you can make adjustments to the workout menu in the toolbar and the metrics on your home screen, so you can hide the workout categories and metrics and tools that you don't really ever use. Now, they'll still be accessible on your watch in a More category, but they won't be taking up a bunch of scroll space, again making the watch a lot easier to use since it'll be more customized for what you are using it for. Also here, if you click on watch faces, you'll be able to find a lot more variety of watch faces to choose from. Again, you can choose up to 5 to have on your COROS Vertix 2 at any one time, and I would definitely check back every so often, as I have noticed new ones being added every month or so. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for the beginner's guide to the COROS Vertix 2. If you enjoyed the video or if it helped you out at all, we always appreciate a comment or a like, and make sure to subscribe to Connect the Watts if you want more content just like this. Thanks again for being here, and we'll see you next time.